Gonna be a lot of this for the next couple days. Got one stack mostly done. Just gotta get all the bark off in any spots that are really wet and starting to rot so that they hopefully last a pretty long time. Eric got it dug. It's looking really good. It's really interesting to see this far down into the soil too. So this back section where he dug out extra deep is where the back posts will be set. He has some like septic gravel in there, really big pieces, just for drainage, help the posts last longer. And this is, gosh, 10 feet? Probably about. Okay.
Okay. Oh, hey.
We are continuing on with the root cellar. As you can see, it's a roundwood root cellar just dug into the side of this hill. Something that we knew we wanted to do, so while we had the excavator, we went ahead and dug a big hole. And we stripped the bark off of these logs, and they were very, very roughly cut to size, so he's currently marking them off so that we can fully cut them to the right height so that we can put the roof on, which is going to be more logs with a living roof, so it'll have like a foot plus of dirt on top. In between the dirt and the logs will be a liner, like a pond liner, and that's kind of what we're working on today. We'll see how far we get.
Yeah, we need to cut these level with the chainsaw and then put cap logs on them to tie the walls together, and then we'll put more logs over the roof. So right now I'm just using a little spring level on my chalk line, and I kind of picked the lowest point on the logs, and I'm going off of that point just around and kind of marking different spots that I'll then use to get a consistent level line all the way around.
And the cap log is what?
It's just a
Tell
log.
us all.
It's just a log sawn in half that we're gonna put on there and put spikes through.
So it basically rests on
see
all of these, and then the logs for the ceiling rest on that.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a more even surface.
Even, yeah, sure. It'll make sense.
We're all
when you see
learning
it.
here. So yeah, we're gonna work on that a little bit, and we will update you as we go. So for a little perspective, right behind this pile of dirt is where we're putting the cottage. So that area is pretty graded now. And then one day over here will be more of a main house. And so directly behind all of that is where the root cellar is. So as he nails them in from the top, we're also trying to keep these logs straight along here. Straight-ish.
Straight with
As straight as they'll go.
Not
Yeah.
straight, just in line with each other.
In line with each other, yeah.
All right, we just put fabric around, well, started to put fabric around the walls just because we're gonna have to fill some dirt in, and so just a membrane to try to keep it from falling in. So
It'll take a bit for it to compact, but we're thinking once it has a little time to settle, it won't really be an issue. But as we get dirt down in, it's just kind of like coming through the cracks a bit. So ideally they'd be, of course, perfectly up against each other with no cracks, but
yeah,
this is a rustic version. And that's okay.
kind of quick version.
Quick, and we're just seeing how it goes.
Yep.
So yeah, it's starting to take shape. We put this ratchet strap on a few days ago to kind of hold everything in place while we get the barrier, the fabric, and get dirt down in, because the dirt on the sides is really what's gonna hold those extra logs we put down and up against the
logs
big
just
ones.
wanted to like fall back out, so
The extra ones we put in, because these are all really sturdy now because they actually have those nails, but the other ones don't have any hardware, so
yeah,
they'll just be relying on all the dirt that we're gonna fill in and put on top to stay in place. So we're gonna work on that now.
Yeah.
It's a nice day.
Nice day.
Feels like fall. It is fall. It's starting to actually take shape. Eric got a few more logs on for the roof, and he's gonna go through now and notch those out, basically like Lincoln logs, so that they lay more flush on the logs that they're laying on. We've been calling them like the cap logs. And then some of them will get secured, but probably not all of them. We're back up at the root cellar today, trying to get it finished before, well, mostly finished before the storms from the hurricane come starting this weekend. So I am shoveling dirt from this pile up here to fill in all around it still, and we're getting close. We're like 2 feet from the top. And Eric is finishing with the logs for the roof. And then we'll probably get the tractor up there and start filling in dirt the rest of the way around and on top. Last nails.
Final nails.
Last nails in the last log.
Bend that one over.
So basically, after this last nail goes in, then we will put the weed barrier over the top, and then we're gonna kind of dome some soil, really fine soil with as little rocks as we can get.
Yeah, just loose soil.
And then the pond liner. And then all the dirt.
So that we don't rip the pond liner, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the plan. But it's pretty thick, so I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, and then kind of sloping on top of the pond liner.
And hopefully now we can get the tractor up and around a little bit more, so I'm not hand digging the rest of it.
Yep. Well,
is it through?
Good enough. What?
Is it all the way through?
Yeah, but it bent over and it kind of lifted the log up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it went back down, but this one's also not going to be bearing much weight, so.
Yeah.
It's more visual than anything.
I'll call it good.
Call it good.
Awesome. Well, we have a roof. It's very exciting. Hopefully the hardest parts are done, but you never know. We are up on top of the root cellar now and just putting the weed barrier fabric down. Not so much for weeds, although it will kind of protect the pond liner from the logs. That's the main thing. So that it doesn't get scratched or busted anywhere. So we're doing, over the top we have a double layer and pretty much the same around the sides. In some areas it's actually tripled up now. And just keeping it pretty loose between all the logs so that when we put soil on, it's not super tight and doesn't burst or something like that. So just gonna protect the inside from any loose soil coming down between the logs on the roof and just kind of hold everything in place. We're just using pretty basic stapler for this. Over here is our air intake. So it's just this pipe running down, and that's already buried about 4 feet now. And we don't know exactly what we're gonna do with the top yet. We're gonna find some kind of little cover roof, I don't know, just to keep debris and stuff out of it and shelter it from rain and stuff like that. But this will be, we might also get an elbow for it or something like that that makes it kind of come up around this way and actually face more so where wind would be blowing, instead of just angled straight up. Almost done.
Almost.
Well, close to almost done at least.
Depends on your definition.
Yeah. Be a nice spot to just come sit on top of, maybe.
That's true.
Good views.
Great lounge spot. I'm gonna be up here.
Just don't smash all my plants.
You just need a little bit of grass bed
Yeah.
for your husband.
Coming into the cellar now, I'll kind of show you where that air intake is. So it's down low in this corner, and so the air will be coming in and circulating. Thank you. So it runs the whole way down that wall, but away from the wall, so it's surrounded by the cold dirt that'll keep it really cool. So air in there. Good.
Probably my magic.
Air in there, fresh air in, and then Eric's about to work on the exhaust to vent all the stale air out. So he just kind of went in with the chainsaw to notch that out for the same kind of plastic pipe. And so all the warm air that rises to the top will just go out, and having them again across like opposite,
based on your cellar book.
yeah, across opposite sides will do like a nice vacuum, so it'll kind of push the warm air out and keep all the cool fresh air on the bottom.
If we had done them on the same side, it would circulate just in that corner, right?
Right, and it wouldn't pass through the rest of the cellar. So again, that's why you want it on opposite sides, if not fully opposite corners, kind of like what we did. And it's by the door, so this will theoretically be the warmest part anyway, so it'll push all that warm air out. We have the tractor up here now, and we're making much better progress getting this thing basically buried, except for the very front. So I'm just trying to make sure that we go around and tamp as we go, keep the air intake line and the exhaust line over there from getting totally buried, although we are burying them up to about a few inches probably. And then we'll start putting a little more soil on top, and then we will cover it with the pond liner, and then we will put about a foot and a half more on top of that at least. Now that we've gotten some of the dirt out of the way and started to pack it in, and it's getting pretty high, another thing that we have to start working on is basically some retaining walls that will fan out to either side and basically create a bank, so starting here and kind of coming out like this and kind of curving around, same thing over here, to hold all of the dirt back and kind of make its own little log wall. So we're still trying to get some of the dirt where Eric is, where it's really piled up, back around the cellar, and then we'll start digging down to put in those logs.
We finally have the structure for the cellar done. It's taken a lot longer than we thought, but the whole structure's there. Still a lot of dirt to move on top, but we just got these little side buttress walls in. We decided we really needed that to be able to retain enough dirt to create the slope for the whole cellar. So feels good to get those in. We just cut them at a fun little curve, and tomorrow we'll finish moving all the dirt in. So progress.
It is a day I don't even know of Root Cellar. Many days more than we planned, but that's how these things go. So Eric is working on getting the rest of the dirt up on the sides, and then we're gonna put the pond liner on. Once it's kind of nice and domed, and we want it kind of sloping all the way off so that it channels any water that falls or runs down away from the root cellar. And then I have some tulip bulbs and some daffodils that I'm gonna go ahead and get planted down in. We don't have any rain coming soon, so I don't know. We have to get it planted though, so it doesn't just like blow and wash away, because it's been so windy lately. And so I'll probably put some clover or perennial rye or something like that on it and be watering it by hand for a little bit. But that's okay, we just have to get it planted so that it all kind of holds together. And our little sidewalls look so good, right?
Right.
She's buried.
She's buried.
So Eric's going over it right now, trying to get any obvious rocks out. It's kind of hard to tell what's a rock and what's just clay.
I'm also trying to create like a crown on it.
Yeah, kind of doming it so that we can send the water off. And we are almost ready for the pond liner. This pond liner is 10 by 13, so it should be just big enough to overhang a bit on really the three edges that are not the front. Man, this thing is intense. I'm so weak today. Shoveling killed me.
Space salad.
Everything's hard. Is there a maybe shiny side up?
I have no idea.
That's what my gut says.
They both look shiny.
No.
Say anything?
Look, shiny. Nah.
Shiny.
Nope. I'm gonna go shiny side up. I don't know what we're gonna do about these front corners.
We're just gonna have to trim it.
Pretty good.
Not a great point.
I need more over here. Okay. More dirt. So simple enough. We'll probably cut some around these front corners. They're a little bit awkward because the dirt isn't gonna be like all the way up to where those front logs are on the top. So we'll just trim it a little bit, but first we're going to just bury it as much as possible. So now that we have soil on top, and it's very windy, and of course there's no rain in the forecast, but we need to get some stuff planted. So I picked these up sometime last week, I think, and I knew we would use them. They're very drought resistant, and I really like things that aren't just pretty, but also functional and edible. So herbs are the way to go for me. So I got a couple different kinds of sage, some oregano, 2 different types of lavender, some rosemary, and then some basil, which is going to stay in the camper with us since it's getting cold, and we're mostly just using that to garnish some meals. And then I also have some big blue stem and some perennial ryegrass seed. We'll put that mostly on these steep banks to start to hold all that together, and then I have some straw to cover it with, and it's just going to kind of chill and wait for rain, which hopefully we get. And then these I'm gonna put mostly across the front of the top of the root cellar. Since there isn't much holding that dirt there right now, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of get that planted up. And then of course we have the tulip and daffodil bulbs in as well, and those will come up in spring. So I'm just kind of trying to think through right now, fall going into winter, and then stuff that'll come up in the spring and get a head start on that as well.
High five.
That's when you know I'm in a good mood. Because we
have
done
it.
Yeah, we're
very done for now.
It's very done for now. So a couple of the other things that we'll be doing, but again, they're just not really a priority, and we have a lot of other things to get started on. But we'll kind of cut off excess of the exhaust pipe that's sticking out.
We'll make the pipes look better.
And then, yeah, the one on the back, the intake, we're gonna probably we'll see some kind of little like roof, I don't know, something to keep things out, keep rain out,
some
just
kind of cap on it,
protect it.
Try to hide it.
Yeah, make it cute, because it's so cute. I'm so happy with it. It was so much work.
Yeah, so much.
But it looks really good, and for now at least, we feel really good about the point that it's at. We can just kind of leave it alone. And yeah, we won't really be using it. We'll probably use it a little bit for storage for the next little while, just stick some things in there.
I'm forward to using it for storage, because we don't really have anything up here to keep stuff dry, so just
it's as of right now, it's the only thing up here at the build site. So slowly we will make our way up here. But yeah, it's time to start some other projects.
Yeah. You got seed and straw down, you're planting some things.
Yep.
So now we'll
just enough to hopefully keep things solid. And I'm also going to link a book that has been extremely helpful so far. I got it just to learn more about storing things in root cellars. And then it was actually way more helpful than I expected for the building of it.
Actual construction of root cellars and a lot of different methods too.
So many different ways of doing a root cellar. Like this in a lot of ways is like an ideal while also being very bare bones and minimal. And then, you know, some people are just like shoving coolers down into the ground, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't have to be any certain way. It's just like when you understand the goal and the variables, there's a million ways of going about it. So I will link the book, and I'm really excited to actually get into storing things. This is my first root cellar ever.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with one,
Same.
never used one. We had a basement, but we didn't really use it for storing things. So yeah, I'm really excited to just take that on, and it's kind of cool to have it ready before we even have anything to put in it.
Yeah.
We're just preparing for a bounty
Yeah.
that will come someday. So root cellar, check, 90% check.
First
Call it
structure.
good. First structure. And I love it. I think it's so cute.
It's cute.
It's cute.